Hi everyone, it's Sam Vokes at Wycombe Wanderers, and you're listening to the Wycombe Wanderers Show.
Welcome along to the limited edition midweek Wycombe Wanderers Show. It feels different being on a Wednesday, doesn't it?
It does, rather, doesn't it? It's like we're sort of like following the footsteps of midweek sports special or sports night.
Absolutely. Coming up, we'll look back on the game which got the team into the playoffs.
It was a funny old game up at Burton, but it was very entertaining.
An interesting experience, I should imagine.
Yes, it was. Mainly because of actually what was going on several hundred miles away at Home Park in Plymouth, rather than actually what was going on in front of us. But it still was very, very good and fantastic. That obviously it has got us into the playoffs. MK Dons, yes, our friends from up the north of the county. Tomorrow night, kick-off 7:45 at home, and then away at Stadium NK, where strangely they've decided to split us up. Answers on a postcard, please, as to why that might be. Kick-off at 6:30 on Sunday night.
Do you think it's to do with feng shui?
I'm not quite sure. I think it's one of those things that they're just slightly trying to be a bit awkward, and let's hope that it really comes back to bite.
Should be a good crowd for tomorrow as well.
It should be a very good crowd. Yes, we are hearing about sold-out car parks and possibly even sold-out stadiums as well.
That'll be very exciting. We'll hear from manager Gareth Ainsworth speaking after the game, and David Wheeler as well, who played a key part too.
He did.
And we'll catch up with joint Golden Glove winner Stocko.
It was a very impressive trophy as well, even though it slightly looked a bit like something from Monty Python.
Or a gotcha from Noel Edmonds.
Slightly. When it originally came out of the tunnel, I think we were all thinking, what on earth is that? And then it was like, oh yeah, actually this is a serious thing. Congratulations to Stocko. We're also going to be hearing in our ex-players feature, because we do still have an ex-players feature, even though we're on a Wednesday rather than a Thursday, from Nathan Tyson.
Who's 40 today.
Which, isn't that lovely?
Super happy birthday to Nathan Tyson. And we'll catch up with Gareth Ainsworth as well in the rearranged press session.
Yes, the earlier than normal press session.
Yes. Which was in the afternoon, oddly.
Yeah, again, the whole week feels a bit odd.
With the bank holiday Monday.
With the bank holiday Monday and whatever, nobody really knows what day it is. And then playing on a Thursday night, that's going to be a bit strange as well.
What day do the bins go out? That's what everyone's saying.
And that changes next week anyway.
Absolutely.
Just to throw in a little bit of local knowledge there.
It's all topical.
If you're listening to this in Louisiana, that won't mean anything. But yes, if you're living in the Wycombe area, then beware, your bin collection day changes on Monday.
On the Listen Again feature on the website, you can hear your chat with the cabinet member who's
right.
responsible.
Yes,
last Monday, wasn't it?
Because the last thing that you want to do is put your bin out on the wrong day, and the day after the bins have been collected. That's
absolutely yes. Humiliating.
Who thought we would end up talking about bins on the playoff edition? But there you go.
So talk to us about Saturday. Obviously, it was a 12:30 kickoff, which must have felt quite strange by itself.
So yes, to make everything feel a bit extra strange, it was 12:30 kickoff. So and I hate things like 12:30 kickoffs because it's like, when are you going to have your lunch and whatever. But anyway, yes, it was slightly worrying because Burton certainly weren't a team that were looking like they were thinking about being on the beach or anything like that, and probably they did have the better of the opening exchanges. So it was relief all round when Sam Vokes scored just before half-time. It was it was exactly as you would expect from a fan's point of view in the first half, in that actually I think we all spent more time probably checking our phones to see what was going on elsewhere than we did actually watching what was going on in front of us. Of course, also the trouble with that is that it also means that the reception was slightly dodgy because we were all doing it at the same time, and you just think actually in those situations, we should organise ourselves better, where just one person checks the score and then tells everybody else, because at least their phone then would work, rather than having all 1,500 Wycombe fans all checking their phones at the same time and nobody actually knowing. And eventually then sort of sporadic bits of information came through, such as, Sunderland have taken an early lead, and then all of a sudden knowing that actually MK Dons had taken the lead. And on the terrace, there was a good group of fans who clearly had a very good mobile phone, because they were the ones that actually started cheering at completely odd moments during the game, when you then thought, oh, okay, MK Dons have scored again and again and again. And so the really odd thing was that actually almost by half-time, it was fairly calm, because we all realised that actually things were probably going to be okay, and that we could even maybe lose and still get in the playoffs. So it wasn't nearly as nerve-wracking as I think we all expected it to be.
I like the idea that there are fans on 5G or something going. That was us.
They must have been. Yeah, they were doing far better in the corner of the terrace than they were in the seats. Because I'm a bit old now, so I chose to sit down. I like the fact that as well at Burton, you can decide, which that's much, much better than just being at a ground where it's all seats and then, of course, half the people stand up and then everybody has to stand up.
Supporters going, I pay £100 a month for my mobile phone, but at least I get to know the score before anyone else.
Indeed, yes, very, very important. So the second half actually was relatively comfortable. Obviously, then Burton equalised, but then Super David Wheeler, with a lovely little bit of skill, setting up Jordan Abita to ensure that we won 2-1. I think that was important as well. I think we definitely want to go into tomorrow night's game having won our previous game. Had we drawn away at Burton, that would have been a little bit disappointing. But obviously, the slightly eye-watering score was that's down at Home Park with Plymouth losing 5-0 and having a player sent off. Can you imagine going along to a home game where you know that all you have to do is win to get in the playoffs and you end up losing 5-0? Must have been quite a depressing journey home.
And really fitting as well that Sam Vokes, who before the trip to Burton was presented with the Players' Player of the Year, should get the goal as well.
Yeah, absolutely. He's been fantastic, hasn't he? He's been a really, really good signing, really, really important, and wonderful that he got on the score sheet again. And I think probably of all the Wycombe players, I would imagine that he's probably the one that MK Dons are fearing most.
Let's get the thoughts of the manager, Gareth Ainsworth, speaking to Phil after the game.
The fans were fantastic. The players stood up to the task. It's not easy playing against a team that, they didn't have much to lose. Burton, I was saying, you're playing cat and mouse against a team that doesn't mind being eaten, and that's hard because, there's nothing to lose for Burton. There was nothing to lose for us today, but in a way there was. I felt like we could have got in those playoffs. Results went really well the other way for us, but the boys had to do a job today. Fair play to Burton, they put up a great fight, and I like this club because this is very, very similar to us. They've been in Championship when everyone didn't want them there, and they're trying to survive in League One and build themselves back. Testament that it can be done, and again, Rotherham going up again, great. It's such a small, unfashionable club. Wycombe Wanderers, we're in the playoffs. People wouldn't have said that they fancied us to do that. I never stopped believing. Those boys in there never stopped believing, and those fans out there never stopped believing. It's like David Wheeler didn't stop believing there on that final goal. Kept tearing and trying and getting it, and finally he got his break, squared it to Jordan, and that saw the game off. But no, real big task in hand now. MK Dons, it's going to be the Buckinghamshire playoffs. That's not happened before. Some of the football was outstanding. Some of the performances were courageous and magnificent today, and I'm going to need that again for 2 more games, and then we'll have an almighty battle at Wembley. We've done that before as well. I got probably 75% of the boys who played against Oxford at Wembley, and I think we've got a great core. We've got a great structure to build from. May count, momentum will definitely count. Looking forward to Thursday, but the boys might need a couple of days to recover from this first.
How did you feel during the game? You would have been aware of the goals going in, mainly at Plymouth, that were making that position in the top 6 safe. How did you feel as that news was coming through?
Yeah, it's a nice feeling to know you've got a little bit of a buffer, but we still had to do our job. And you know what? I wanted to win today. I wanted to win because you don't want to go into those playoffs with a draw or a defeat. It just doesn't sit right. And a win, the way the boys celebrated and the way the fans celebrated at the end, we're going to take that into Thursday. We've got a chance in these. There's 4 teams, 25% each of them. I tell you, there's no favourites in this because this is the playoffs. This is not the league anymore. This is a total different competition. Home and away, 2 legs. Let's see who comes on top. I can't wait for it.
You've mentioned it just in this interview, but that knowledge of a couple of years ago, that's clearly got to stand you in good stead.
Hopefully, there was no crowd there, so people will say it might be different, but we prepared really well for Fleetwood. We had plenty of time, and I thought we blew them away in that first leg. Second leg was very tight, and then we did a job at Oxford. We had plenty of time to prepare for that. So this time, less time to prepare. It's going to come really quickly, and we've got to be ready for that. The final, you've got plenty of time, but let's not think about that. Let's make sure we get these 2 games dealt with. And I say, MK Dons, it's been a great season for them as well, and I can't wait for this game on Thursday. It's going to be awesome. We'll get back down the road. We'll rest. We'll recover. I just want to say thank you to everyone who's got behind us this season. It's probably one of the biggest away followings I've ever seen, and the loudest definitely, and it spurs the boys on. You don't know what you've got. This club is something special. Just let it breathe, let it feed itself, because we can go places. Championship, Wycombe Wanderers, that's what they're talking about again, and I love it.
Let's talk about the fans, because I noticed there's about 15 or 16 maybe Gareth Ainsworths on the terrace today.
There's some real good efforts as well, I told you. Blue shirt, blue trousers. I think the cowboy boots were a bit few and far between, but the masks and that were out. I looked round and our owner, Pete Coog, was wearing a mask at one stage, so what chance have the fans got, you know? It was brilliant, a real good occasion, but the day I say it's me is the day that I might as well give this up, because it's all of us together, it's everyone. They might as well have 50 masks on, because you got all the backroom staff, you got all the players, you got all the staff at the training ground, you know, right down from the kit men to the chef to the owners, you know, everybody plays their part, and we couldn't do it without them. The playoffs is for everyone. Everyone get down and enjoy it, and we will give it our absolute best shot.
Yeah, really interesting that Gareth there echoed your sentiment that it's really important to get that win at the end of the season.
Yeah, I definitely think it is. You want to be going into these games not feeling like you've sort of like, you know, you've got into the playoffs almost by default, and so the fact that we did what we needed to do and we won was very important. I like the number of times that he mentioned "Don't Stop Believing." I do wonder whether we can hear a cover version by the Cold-Blooded Hearts coming up very shortly.
Maybe, perhaps we should suggest that.
Yeah, I think we should. Yeah.
David Wheeler, as you mentioned, played a key part as well.
He was wonderful, really, really good. Got the all-important goal, even though there was a slight suspected. I wondered whether it was going to be pulled back because of maybe a sort of like shoulder ball, but luckily it wasn't. Set up Jordan Obita for a super goal.
And let's hear from him now. He also spoke to Phil after the game.
I think there's a great amount of belief, like the whole way through for us. Really, like it was almost bizarrely relaxed within the camp. You know, not arrogant, obviously in any way. We still know we had to do a job here, but I think we were quietly confident the whole way through.
You had to get a result elsewhere, but MK Dons have really delivered that this afternoon. Were you getting news of that when you were on the bench in the first half? Were you aware of what was going on in Devon?
Yeah, I was sort of had the box seat sitting next to Harry getting all the results. So and it you know, relatively early we were getting more and more relaxed, because obviously we heard what was happening down there. So especially going 1-0 up as well, it was quite relaxing at that point. But then obviously when we conceded, we were a bit like,
Even at that point though, it was a lot of goals would have had to have gone against Wycombe in other games too. But is it important to get that win in the final day now going into the playoffs, because it's the momentum?
I don't buy into that too much, to be honest. I mean, I know momentum is definitely a thing, but it's a whole different kettle of fish. I've been in scenarios where I had, you know, extreme momentum going into it and lost, and vice versa. So yeah, I don't buy into that too much. They're sort of isolated games, and that's why they're so exciting.
Gareth Ainsworth has epitomised your spirit for the assist for today's winner, as well as saying that's the spirit that's got Wycombe into this position. How do you feel about that, hearing those words?
Oh yeah, it's great. Like always good to feel appreciated. But you know, for me, I'm just really chuffed that I could make that contribution in, you know, such a high profile moment, I suppose. And that's sort of why you keep going, why you keep battling in training, why you keep focused and keep going, and hope that moments like that you're going to be needed for. And it sort of was like Wycombe from old, like, you know, making something out of nothing. So yeah, it's good.
And let's talk about the playoffs. MK Dons, a team that you know well, of course. It's going to be a spicy couple of games, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, like you said before, they are the form team. They're playing at the top of the game at the minute, and they obviously just had an incredible result against Plymouth, and it's going to be a really, really tough ask for us. But you know, on our day we could beat anyone in the league, so you know we've got no problems whoever it is.
Quick turnaround as well between the final day of the season and then the first semi this Thursday.
Yeah. I mean, I prefer that. I think it's just the 2-week gap, you know, from the semi-final to the final is not ideal, because you're sort of trying to get out of the way of each other in training, and you just want to go in and play it. But yeah, it's nice we can just roll into that after a win.
Talk about the fans today. They were here and they had a wonderful time. I think obviously they were getting the news coming from Devon as well. It was a real party atmosphere on the terrace and in the seats here for the away fans today. Yeah,
honestly, I think that's probably the best I've heard our fans since I've been at the club. I think, you know, the whole way through it was, like you said, a bit of a carnival atmosphere, and it's the loudest they've ever been, and we needed it. It was a huge lift for us, and at home we're going to have to go again and make even more noise, I think.
really impressive crowd on Saturday. Very much continuing the theme from all of the Spanish visitors that, of course, came to Adams Park the game before. It was loud and it was proud the whole time. Really, really impressive.
Well, we'll hear from Gareth as well later on in the programme, but talking about that home support they've had against Plymouth, Sheffield Wednesday, and now obviously tomorrow as well, it looks like being another bumper crowd.
Yes. If you are going along tomorrow, then again, please do channel the Spanish the Spanish energy, because we definitely, doesn't matter where you sit, we don't only need the cheering and the chanting on the terrace. We need it in all areas of the ground tomorrow. Very, very important. Going back to Burton, again, it was great actually at Burton, because we did pack out the terrace and we did pack out the little bit of seating that we had. Quite an unusual ground, the fact that it's got the terraces on three sides, and also as well very much the fact that absolutely anything and everything at Burton can be sponsored. So it doesn't matter what it is. Even the additional time was sponsored. I think the additional time was sponsored by something like Sheep Pens of Burton, which was slightly strange, but not quite as strange as the substitutes, who were sponsored by Burton Doggy Daycare, which, it sounded like a Monty Python sketch. It didn't quite make sense. And you've also then got the advertising holdings for Don Ammett, King of Caravans. Very, very impressive.
Sounds like you need to get in touch with them with your dog leads.
I know, I did think that when they said sponsored by Burton Doggy Daycare. It was like, I think you actually need some dog leads.
Still to come on our limited edition midweek Wycombe Wanderers show for 1 week only. We will be hearing from goalkeeping coach Lee Harrison, along with David Stockdale, the joint Golden Glove winner.
Stocko.
Also, though, coming up next, a brilliant chat with Nathan Tyson.
Online, on Radio Player, and on 106.6 FM. This is Wycombe Sound.
Still to come on the strictly limited edition midweek episode of the Wycombe Wanderers show, we'll hear from goalkeeping coach Lee Harrison along with David Stockdale. Luke will join us to also pick out our end of season predictions, which we made at the beginning of the first show of this series. Find out which one of us was closest as to who we thought and where we thought Wycombe Wanderers would end up in their League One chase of a playoff place. Were we optimistic? Were we pessimistic? Were we realistic? Were any of us right? All those questions and more to be answered. But first, with big thanks, as always, to the Wycombe Wanderers Ex-Players Association. I've been catching up with former forward Nathan Tyson, who celebrates his 40th birthday today. Spent 2 spells at the club, of course. And here's how it all started for him.
One of my older brothers, they took me because I couldn't drive. And, having a look around the pitch, at the ground, just automatically, I just already thought, this is really nice. Obviously, I played some reserve team games there for Reading, and then obviously turning up there, I just thought, this is nice. The lads were fantastic. Meeting Jim, the kit man, in his little room tucked away with some very controversial posters on his wall, which is quite a sight to see. And then just obviously training with the boys, and then obviously my first game was against Grimsby at home, and I think I made 3 assists there for Luke Moore, who scored a hat-trick that day. And unfortunately, I got stretched off. Well, I had to come off that game because one of the Grimsby players didn't like me doing so much running, and that he took me out. My knee kind of went, and I had to spend, I think it was a week or so back at Reading until I came back.
Well, you must have been so pleased with how well you literally hit the ground running when you came to Wycombe, and the goals that you scored, and the rate of goals as well, and obviously your pace was something which the fans really took to as well.
Yeah, it was just I think it was just playing without fear. I mean, especially when I first come on loan, Wycombe were bottom of the league, and you could tell that there was a shift in change. Obviously, Tony Adams had taken charge, and I don't think some of the players were warm into his philosophy of the way to do things. If Tony Adams got the job now, I think he would have been more of a success there, because people would have already known what to do, like how to look after themselves off the field, and how to produce the performances on the field. So he was a bit of ahead of his time, especially at that level, League One, well, the old Division 2. He was ahead of his time. He tried to bring the Arsene Wenger's kind of theory into how to look after yourself, what to eat before games and stuff, and it kind of fell a bit on deaf ears. But after that, the goals that I scored. I've seen some of the goals on some old footage, and it's just, it was just amazing. It was an amazing feeling, especially when John Gorman took charge as well. Football just became fun. It became enjoyable. It wasn't massively, there wasn't loads of pressure on you. You went out there and enjoyed it, and we had a real good group of players.
And obviously something that really stands out and it must have suited your game so much is obviously the attacking style of play that John got the team doing.
Yeah, it was phenomenal. I mean, this sums him right up. We were obviously playing Aston Villa at home. We've gone, I think it was 3-1 up. We're coming at half time, and us players, we're thinking, right, we're 3-1 up against a Premier League team. Their fans are going crazy at the manager, and we're like, we've got them here. We can win it. We can win this. We just need to see out the game and don't concede any other goals. So that's what us players were thinking. He's come in. He said, "Let's get 4. Let's get 5. Let's get 6. Come on, boys, they're in for the taking." And lo and behold, we end up losing the game. And John come in after the game and said, "Sorry, lads, I got a bit carried away there." But first half performance is obviously what we've got to take into account for the rest of the season. But that was John. He at the time, fantastic guy, absolutely fantastic guy. He's up there as one of my favourite managers. And for me, he just made training enjoyable. He made playing enjoyable. He'd come in with a smile on his face, especially even if we lost on the Saturday, even in the debriefs meetings, if we'd lost on the Saturday, he was just so upbeat. He was shaking everyone's hands as everyone comes in. He was a joy to work with, and forever in debt to him for getting the best out of me at that time.
And obviously your goals to game ratio is outstanding, but I guess the sort of group of players that you had around you was to be credited for that as well.
Yeah, definitely. Some players have played with there. Obviously, you look at the likes of Roger Johnson. I mean, Russell Martin was just coming through, but obviously Blooms, Rob Lee, Tommy Mooney. The list goes on. The players, they're just fantastic players that I got to work with, and being up front playing with Tommy Mooney, learning from him was fantastic. And of course, like Danny Sender and Gus Uhlenbeek, they were flying down the right hand side, and it was just a joy to be part of. And I do believe that had I stayed, I think we would have gone straight up, to be fair. And it was just a shame that they didn't do it that year. But obviously after that year, the squad kind of dissolved a bit, and it is where it is now today. But to be part of that group, we definitely underachieved as well.
Did you have a real sense of pride as well to be the club's leading EFL goal scorer for such a period as well?
Yeah, it did. Obviously it was great to be a part of it. I mean, I'm surprised it lasted for so long, but I'm forever grateful for that, and it was something that I'm very, very proud of. And it just brings, every time I think back to that, it brings back a part of me that was just so carefree in my play. And that all comes from the manager, that comes from John himself and my teammates in and around me. Everyone blossomed, everyone became better. And you only have to look at that first half against Aston Villa, that we were just, it summed us up. That was a John Gorman team there. You can argue and say Aston Villa went out the races, but they still need to be beaten for one half, albeit. But there was just so many other games that I can remember. My first hat trick and stuff like that. It was just an incredible period of time for myself, and I really enjoyed it. And that's what obviously ended up getting my move. And I knew deep down that I wasn't going to be at Wycombe for long, and I knew the move, if it wasn't going to be Forest, it was going to be someone else, and it was definitely going to happen that time of the season. So I would have liked to have, look back at it, I would have liked to have stayed till the end of the season, but I just thought at the time it was the right time for myself, and not only the club's getting a big chunk of money out of it as well. So I was looking at it, okay, it's making me progress to the next level at an absolute huge club, and I just couldn't ignore that. but as well as the fee for me as well will massively help out the club, because back then the club didn't really have that much money.
Of course, because I think Sheffield Wednesday came in for you a couple of times as well, didn't they? As you say, it must be so flattering to know that Forest wanted you and at that level as well. And as you say, you've had the kind of foundation at Wycombe as well.
Yeah, it was a strange time, because I remember that season. Obviously, I scored 22 goals the first full season that I was there, and then 13 goals in 13 games before I left. But leading up to that, I had, I think Millwall wanted me, but the fee just, Wycombe said no, Cardiff. And I was like, look, I want to go to Cardiff, but Wycombe said no, the fee wasn't what they wanted. Okay, and I was just like, okay, well, fair enough, we'll just keep going. And then obviously Sheffield Wednesday come into play. Obviously, I went up to Sheffield Wednesday, but as I was driving up to Sheffield Wednesday, Nottingham Forest phoned up my agent as he was taking me up there and said, look, we really want him. Is he going to sign for Sheffield Wednesday? And my agent was like, well, we're going up there to talk, like pretty much to do the deal. I got up there, I had a talk with, it was Paul Sturrock, the manager, and I just wasn't feeling him at all. I didn't feel welcomed. That I thought he was just kind of bringing me in because they were under pressure. They needed to bring someone in, and I kind of just got an inkling in that I was just there just to tick a box to say, oh, look, well, we've got the top goal scorer from League Two and he's an exciting player. You know, we're just ticking this box to make sure to keep the fans quiet. And after, I just didn't get that warm feeling, and I just thought to myself, you know what, let's see what Nottingham Forest are saying, and then the rest is history.
No, definitely. We mentioned that the sort of the impact that you had with the fans as well. That must have been great at the time. You were such a fan's favourite. Obviously, not just because of your goals, but obviously your pace and you know, character as well, of course.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, it was just you know, my mum and my dad's, you know, they raised me up very, very, very well, to be very respectful for, you know, for others, and for me, that just played out into the way that I am around people around the ground, and you know, just being, I wanted to be part of something. And at Wycombe, for me, even when I go back to Wycombe now, it's not changed that family nature. That, you know, they're not a team that are abusive to their own players or, you know, booing here. They're everything is, my pint is half full, not half empty. And it's just so great to see that is still embedded in the Wycombe philosophy as a football club, how to run a football club. It's family orientated. Everyone's out there for a great day, win, lose or draw. And that for me is why I love Wycombe Wanderers and why I miss it incredibly, especially when I've been to so many other clubs and I always talk highly of Wycombe, and especially now where you have Gareth in charge. I've worked under him, obviously, and seeing the rest of the lads, that change room is absolutely fantastic. And that is a credit to the Wycombe way and how Gareth has incorporated that now as well into the changing room. So, you know, for me, coming through that and learning all that has made me the player that I am today, and something that I'm very grateful for.
And is that what led to you coming back again in 2017? How did that come about?
I left Kilmarnock. I cut my contract short. I had some family issues that had happened, so I was out of a job from March onwards. I started doing my coaching badges and seeing if that was something that I was looking to get into. And then, funny enough, just had a phone call from the goalkeeping coach from Baz, and he just said, you know, do you want to come down and have a look? And I spoke to Gareth and I spoke to Dobbo, and the rest was history. I went down there, trained, played against QPR under 23s, and Gareth liked what he saw and I liked what was going on. And yeah, it was good it was fantastic to be back. And I thought to myself, yeah, I want to do this. And then the deal came about and I was happy, you know, ticked all the boxes, and that was it. And I just thought to myself, right, I want to be part of this. I want us to get promoted, and it was just a fantastic season for everyone.
I was going to say it was a great time to come back, but also really nice, I think, for fans to have, you know, sort of a former fan favourite to come back as well.
Yeah, it was good to see so many fans that were there when I first turned up, and that was just so refreshing to see. Just so many familiar faces, obviously, especially Blooms, seeing him again and, having another season with him. It was just absolutely fantastic. And everything I say about Wycombe is just so upbeat, because I wore that shirt with pride, because they did a lot for me when I first went there. And I was like, okay, well, I've come back now. I want to make sure that I can do this club proud and give them something back, give them a medal at the end of the season. And that's what happened. But yeah, it was just, coming back and seeing so many familiar faces, the fans chanting my name, and it was just very, very great and very, very lovely to see and hear.
Obviously, you touched on the fact that you've been to a number of clubs. What would you say is so special about Wycombe?
Like I said, it's just the family element of it. It just, the ground is fantastic. They do their best of what they got, and that's all what Wycombe has been. They've never punched too high, and they've never punched too low. They've always just been where they are. They stayed in their lane, and they're saying, like, this is the Wycombe way. This is what we're about. We're a family club. We want people to enjoy the occasion, and they do everything. But they, to be fair to Wycombe, they actually do things better at their level, and that, even at championship level, than a lot of other clubs do. They look after their fans, and it's just a good aura about the place, and that for me is what being part of a football club, supporting a football club should be. Whether you're fighting relegation or whether you're trying to get promoted, that's what a football club should be.
Well, it's fantastic, isn't it, to see how far the club has come, obviously being in the Championship for a season. And I remember Steve Hayes saying he had a 5-year plan for the club. And, even then you thought, well, they're not going to get in the Championship. I mean, League One will be excellent, but, but
I remember that, yeah. That was him. He wanted to dream big, but, obviously it didn't materialise, but only until now. And, I always did believe in the back of my mind, even when Wycombe got to the Championship, I said, look, they're going to go up. They're going to go up, and still right now, I still believe that Wycombe will go up again. Now, I think you only got to look at clubs like Swansea and Bournemouth. It weren't that long ago when they were struggling down in the old Division 3 or League 2, and now look at what they've achieved. They've been in the Premier League and been in the Premier League for quite some time, and obviously they're out of it now. But they had a good stint, and why can't Wycombe Wanderers be similar? For me, they have a very similar fan base to say Bournemouth, very similar size ground-ish, should I say, that what Bournemouth has. And Bournemouth just had massive investment, and that's how they got themselves to the Premier League. Wycombe aren't far away from that, but they're doing it their way, and they're doing it on their accord. And it's just fantastic to see how the club has changed and how it's growing in stature, and they could be a team that continue up onwards and upwards.
And really great to see them finish in the top 6 again this season. But how do you view the playoffs as a player? Because I think as fans, certainly, I remember obviously the season that you left, that we were in against Cheltenham, and I remember the first leg. It seems such a lottery, doesn't it, the playoffs? But when it goes well, it can be a really great thing.
Yeah, it's not really gone well for me. I've not had a good experience in playoffs. So it's a strange time. It's obviously, it's obviously like a cup final, it clearly is a knockout phase. I don't know. Some players get really nervous. Some players don't perform. Some players do perform, but you've got to keep a level head about it. I mean, I'm not the best person to ask. I've only ever managed to get promoted through the playoffs once, and that was with Cheltenham when I was on loan there. All the other times I failed at in the semi-final stages as well. So it is a nerve-wracking time, but it's an exciting time, because you just need to think about each game, especially in the Football League. You got the 2 games. Just got to think about the first game, get the win, and then progress onto the second and see where you're at from there. But I believe Wycombe can do it. I definitely do. They've had a good run into the playoffs, and that's the most important thing. You need momentum into the playoffs.
No, definitely. It feels a really positive feel about the club. And I'm sure fans will be keen to know sort of what you're doing these days and what's next for you. Obviously, brilliant to see you at Good Friday as well for Bloom's game too.
Yeah, well, I'm currently still at Chesterfield. I'm still looking to play as long as I possibly can, so it might mean me having to drop down another level or two. I don't know. I'm going to see what happens at the end of the season, but, we're trying to secure a playoff place ourselves and, hopefully, fingers crossed, I can be part of it. If not, I'll be cheering the lads along and making sure that they get the job done. But, I just want to play as long as I can, especially, at the highest level that I can possibly can. So I'm still fit and ready. I've not played many games this season, so, I'm ready to go for next season, whoever wants me anyway.
Oh, fantastic. It's brilliant to hear that you are still playing, especially at the ripe old age that you are. A great happy birthday for your big birthday as well.
Oh, thank you very much. Thank you.
Online, on Radio Player, and on 106.6 FM. This is Wycombe Sound.
Still to come on the unusual Wednesday evening Wycombe Wanderers Show, very much a limited edition. We shall have the big reveal of how Colin and I, and Luke as well, got on with our league predictions this season. We'll also, of course, hear from Gareth Ainsworth ahead of tomorrow night's game against the MK Dons. But first of all, Stocko sat down with Phil Catchpole and also goalkeeping coach Lee Harrison to celebrate his Golden Glove Award after keeping 18 clean sheets this season.
I think we could have had a couple more to maybe win it outright, but it's credit to the lads in front of us. They work hard and I just get to boss them about and then pick up a medal.
You've always said it's you and the team that contribute to this as well, but we've got Lee, Harry, your coach here as well. He must play a huge part in what goes on.
Yeah, massively. He's got my number, so he just rings me on. He called me Wonga at one point, the short-term loan specialist, because I was going out here and everywhere. So I had a couple of games at Southend. He must have seen my potential, so he brought me here and moulded me into the goalkeeper I am.
Harry, what's it like? We don't want to reveal David's age here, but he's in his 30s. What's it like working with a keeper at this stage of their career?
It's easy. My job is just to manage him, which, I suppose that is a tough job to manage him. To manage him. Look, I've been a keeper at that age. I know what you need, what you don't need. I'm not here to correct him. We talk about things as a pair. And go over stuff, and some of the times he's already told me what he thinks has happened or gone wrong, so that part's easy. Sometimes I have to calm him down, as you can well imagine.
Yeah.
And go, not now, Stocko, it's not the time. But
showing him here. Calm down.
But if you want to know what the character's like, you really only have to look over when we conceded against Burton. Although he got the award, he wanted it on his own, and the disappointment to concede there. We do pride ourselves on the clean sheets. Same way forwards want the goals. So he's still driven, which is the best bit for me.
Talk to me about the training with the keepers. It's you, Tyler, Adam and yourself as well, Lee. You have a lot of separate work and then you join in with the rest of the squad?
Yeah, we probably have about 45 minutes to an hour to ourselves. The last couple of days before games I'll work on things that are maybe specific to the opposition we're going to face, and we'll have spoke about that beforehand. Monday, Tuesday then's more detailed for the individual and not necessarily Stocko, the younger ones. But listen, he's brilliant. He can stop sessions as well and give them insight, and that's the best bit about it. They get it from all angles.
When did you guys first sort of come across each other? I hear there's a bit of a story here.
Well, we look back, was it 2007, 2008?
Yeah, 2002.
We actually played against each other. Obviously, because we're two top-class goalkeepers, it was a 0-0 draw.
Between Darlington and Barnet. You were a young pup and I was finishing the career.
Yeah, we were just kicking it to each other.
Yeah, we kicking it to each other. I think the best bit was just before we were about to kick off, the floodlights went out.
Yeah.
And literally we all got taken off the pitch. We came back about 15 minutes later, but during that time we'd had the coin toss. We'd actually switched ends. My missus thought I'd played really well first half until she realised it was Stocko.
Because it was downhill.
So yeah, the best bit is we had a 0-0 draw. We haven't got one upmanship on each other yet.
The lads couldn't believe that we'd played against each other. That was the mad thing. We had to prove it to Adam and Tyler.
So that was for Darlington as well, and that leads us in nicely to the fact that, yes, Golden Glove winner for Wycombe Wanderers, but you've done this in 3 divisions now?
Yeah, I got told on Sunday, actually. Obviously, I put some things up about it, and it's always nice to get something, say you're not finished yet, prove a few people wrong, that thought I might have been finished. And he said, do you know you won it at Darlington? And I said, actually, I couldn't remember. I had to actually fact check it myself before I put anything out there. And then I won it at Brighton, so it was nice to be told that I've done it in all 3 divisions. I don't know if that's telling them that I'm old or that I can do it at each level.
We've got to finish talking about the playoff semi-finals against MK Dons. First leg at Adams Park this Thursday. I'm guessing the experienced heads are going to be key in these games.
Yeah, I've been in, I think it's 3 now. Do you know what I've said? Like, a few people asked me about it before the Burton game. I said, that's just another game. And that's what it is, because you don't want to get too carried away and you don't want to get too relaxed about them. What it is just another game. If we can continue in the form and what we're doing, I think we'll progress. But MK are a great team. They've showed that. So we have to be aware, but also it's at home. Some people might say, oh yeah, but you're away second leg, that's the advantage. And I don't think so. If you can get a good start, I think it's better than catching up. So I'm optimistic. I'm not going to give too much away, but I love it. I love these type of games. There were situations in the past few years that I got asked to represent a certain club at the playoffs. And I said, yeah, let's go. I love that type of thing. Obviously, it wasn't accepted by the powers, but what it means to me is...
You say me?
I'm not saying a word. But what it means to me is you want to be involved in these types of games. These are, I think I said before, Cardiff, was it, when we were at that stage before the game. These are the games that you should look forward to. I know you should always get up for your Tuesday night games at Stoke and Wycombe, as they say, but these are the games. We've worked 46 games. We've worked to get to a game that obviously would have liked to have been in second place, but we worked so hard to get here. Don't waste an opportunity.
And there's lots more of that chat with Phil Stocko and Lee Harrison on Wanderers TV. Really interesting to hear from Stocko, who, he's treating it as any other game, I suppose. And David Wheeler said something a bit similar in that, he wasn't too concerned whether there was momentum. He was just so keen to play these knockout games.
And I think that's very important. I think you don't necessarily want to go into them thinking, oh, goodness me, this is a really big deal. And even if you get to Wembley, I still think you want to treat it as, one game at a time, as the cliche is. I think that is definitely the right thing. And we've got Gareth Ainsworth as our manager. He will keep their feet very much on the ground. He will keep things very much as they are used to. And I have no concerns there. And again, to go back slightly to the ridiculous thing about the fact that MK Dons have split up the ticket allocation, so we've got some fans in one corner of the ground and other fans in the other corner of the ground. I think the one person that you don't want to play mind games against is Gareth Ainsworth, because he will use that completely to his advantage. That'll be one of the things that he'll be saying to his team before they go out. He'll be saying, look at the disrespect. We've not done anything silly like that with MK Dons. We haven't restricted their allocation. We've treated them as you would expect to be treated. They haven't done us the same. So actually make sure that you go out there and you prove a point tomorrow night and on Sunday.
We'll hear from the manager in a few moments' time. But first, Luke joins us.
Hello.
Cast your mind back to the very first show of season 2.
Before Accrington Stanley at home?
Good memory.
Well done.
Yes. Have you looked that up especially?
No, I haven't. No, I can't remember.
We carried on. Tradition sounds a bit strong, but we've only done it once before. But
it's a new tradition.
Yeah,
exactly. We didn't do very well then.
No. So we may have over/undercompensated.
What do you think? Do you think you did well or not?
In case you're wondering what we're talking about, this is our predictions of league positions. So we
didn't explain that yet, have we?
We all decided, or we all said where we thought Wycombe would finish,
and
it's been sitting in a special
social media.
Yes, we also did we allowed you to take part as well. So it's been sitting in an envelope here at Wycombe Sound Towers with a big message on it: "Do not undo until the end of the season."
It's been pinned to a post like one of those protesters at Everton.
And then they'll bring on the bolt cutters in special Wycombe Wanderers colours. So yes, Luke is now undoing it.
Do you think you've done well?
I think I said the playoffs.
Okay,
but I can't really remember.
This is a bit Eurovision, isn't it?
Ooh.
It is.
Well, this is very interesting. Okay,
so you've got some on the back as well.
Yeah, it's exactly the same, actually.
That's a bit strange.
Okay, so actually they're both the same. I can confirm they're. So Bob,
yes,
you said second.
Oh, okay. So I didn't go playoffs. I went automatics.
Colin, you said third.
Did I?
You did.
Oh, well done. So
social media by 76% said promotions playoffs.
Yeah.
And then I was one out and said fifth. Although I think originally I said sixth, which is even more annoying.
Yes,
but I'll take fifth.
No, okay.
So not too, would be better than last season.
You win the David Stockdale.
Do I get one of the little golden gloves?
You win David Stockdale.
Yes, I'll take that.
It's going to come round to your house for a few days.
It's not legally binding, is it?
No, I don't think so.
No, don't worry, David. No, don't worry.
Luke did buy him that nice whatever it was that he likes to drink.
Oh, that is true. Yeah.
So I think him and Luke are,
It makes up for the fact that your games are usually jinxed when you go to them as well.
I've done well this season, I think. Yeah. Maybe not tomorrow.
Marooned on the pitch.
That is the problem, and it's on TV tomorrow, so everyone can laugh at me.
Watch out for that.
Watch that. Yes, look out for Luke.
Luke's best.
He'll be standing around as they're coming out, looking slightly awkward.
Yeah, that's me.
Yeah.
It's be run over by all the players.
You'll then see the trainers running on in the way that they now do.
They do.
We had that at Burton actually on Saturday, where all of a sudden there was a bit of a commotion in the crowd, not from the Wycombe end, but from the Burton end, and all the Burton physios ran over and saved the day. I think that was all okay as well. But it's very impressive.
Oh, nice. Last week on the show, you gave some breaking news, didn't you, about some possible managerial interest?
I did, yes, indeed. So whilst we were actually doing the show, QPR announced the fact that Mark Warburton's contract was not being renewed at the end of the season. We also had already had the news that Tony Mowbray was stepping down as Blackburn manager, or again that he had not heard about any contract renewal, and since then it has been confirmed that he will be leaving as well. And of course, those are the two teams that always makes us slightly nervous, because Gareth grew up as a Blackburn Rovers fan as a boy, and also most notably probably is linked as a player at Queen's Park Rangers. So yes, always slightly nervous times. All we now need is for maybe Reading to get rid of their manager and Preston to get rid of theirs, and it'll be completely will be nervous wrecks. But hopefully that won't happen, because I know that you have been speaking to Gareth, and he has been making some reassuring-ish noises.
Yes, because also since then it was reported that Gareth is on a short list of people wanted by Blackburn.
And I've also noticed as well, he's on a short list of people now wanted by Watford. The bookmakers make him, I think, fourth favourite for the Watford job. I can't really see that that's going to happen, but even so, he's very much a man in demand.
Can we put him on a short list of people wanted here as well?
You can have a show in the off-season. Yeah, that'd be good.
That'd be excellent.
Indeed, he's going to start doing mid-mornings along with you.
Brilliant. So here's his reaction to the developments of the week.
So flattered and humbled to be linked with jobs like that. Obviously, big clubs, and but I'm at a big club as well, and we've got plenty of time to do things here. So listen, nothing's going to distract me from these playoffs at the moment, and I'm sure if anything comes out in the wash, there's plenty of time till to work on that. It's all about the playoffs now for me and Wycombe Wanderers, and I've been here before. It's not like it's the first time, so that's probably a good thing. So flattered as always, but yeah, I'm a big realist as well. Nothing's happened, so cracking on with the playoffs. Absolutely loving being in charge for these playoffs. It's going to be a really, really good occasion.
And a real compliment, I guess, to the work that you and the team are doing, but also a real compliment to have made the playoffs again altogether.
Absolutely, it shouldn't be just me linked with good jobs. It should be everyone to do with Wycombe Wanderers linked with good jobs, because what we've done with this club over 10 years has been phenomenal, absolutely phenomenal. The acceleration and looking back over the years has been nothing short of fantastic. And getting to the playoffs this year with the amount of teams in this league that have been in the Premier League, that are high spending, that are absolute, huge clubs. It's just testament to everyone to do with the club, So don't just link me, link everyone, because that's what it should be deserved of.
And it must be such a great feeling as well, because I remember speaking to you earlier in the season and you saying the goal was to be in and around the top six, and that's been achieved.
That has been achieved. I didn't realise 83 points would be the total we'd need to achieve to get there, but the lads have been absolutely fantastic. The fans have been brilliant, and everyone connected with the club. It has been a real brilliant season, a really brilliant season. I've really enjoyed every minute of it, and what an exciting finish we've got coming.
And your own and the players' playoff experience must really stand you in good stead for these two games.
You'd like to think so. You never know what's going to come, but
I remember a couple of years ago against Oxford, you know, there was a majority of my boys had been in the playoffs before and been promoted. And we made a big point of saying that before the games, who has been in this situation, that will count for a lot, you know. And I know MK is quite a young side, so there's not as much experience, but there's plenty of energy, enthusiasm and good technique in their team. So, you know, it's a real clash and looking forward to it.
Do these games feel like they're league games, or do they feel like they're cup games? Obviously, they're quite knockout, especially for after the second one.
Yeah, they definitely don't feel like league games. These are the league's finished, and we've got to well and truly know that the league's finished. And these are playoffs. They're playoff games. You know, they're on their own, and it's brilliant to have these in football. You know, the home and away. Like, I can't wait, honestly. So they are treated as different. Not even cup games. It's something totally different. And you know, I'm fortunate enough to have been involved both as player and manager, and not done too badly out of them.
Just touching on the sort of the nature of them as well, does it have no bearing on the fact that, you know, the 2 games that you've played against MK Dons already this season as well?
No, it's a totally different competition. You know, it's both of us have changed our teams and changed our styles a little bit. You know, probably us more than them. It's all about that the 2 legs. You know, that's what it's about now, and we've got to make sure that, you know, we take the best opportunities we can in both legs.
And fantastic, I think, that it is at home, because obviously you've had the last 2 or 3 home games have been so well attended and such a great atmosphere at Adams Park as well. And hopefully, you know, the same this week too.
Yeah, great results as well. You know, Plymouth, Sheffield Wednesday, just fantastic. The boys have really taken to being at home. And we've got one of the top 3 or 4 home records in the country, which is brilliant. We're going into the playoffs on great form. The lads are confident. We really are hoping that we can, we can put some markers down and you know, show that Wycombe Wanderers is no longer this home counties club that just make up the numbers. We're here to compete, we're here to contend, and the boys are showing that, definitely.
And does it feel like, I heard you speaking after your Frogfest performance, does it feel like the town is really behind you?
It has done for a few years now, you know, it really has. You know, I think it's been building and you know, we stretched it as far as we possibly could with the trust ownership, absolutely as far as we possibly could. And we needed the lifeline of the Curries coming in and just took us to another stratosphere, another level. And I think sometimes you wonder what you could do with a bit of resource. You wonder what you can do with just that a bit of investment, never mind a lot of investment. And I think we're proving that we're a good team, you know, and we're still not frivolous. We're not chucking stuff away, but we've been given a chance and you know, working alongside the owners and the fans getting bigger and even my staff has increased a little bit on the football side. You know, this is now becoming a proper football club for the first time, really, because it's always been Wycombe. The non-league history is brilliant and fantastic, but we kept a lot of it with us, and now to be considered as a championship outfit, you have to break some shackles off, and you have to start moving forward and becoming this totally professional team. And I really believe that we're making some superb strides going forward.
No, it feels really fantastic because, you know, so many people that speak about Wycombe and obviously have seen that they've been in the Championship and now in the top part of League One. It must feel like sort of a new almost era and the great progress that the team's made.
I think you're right. I think it is a new era, you know, and you talk about the years and what years they are. These are definitely touching the Championship years, and I'm hoping that they'll be remembered as that. Who knows where we could be in a few more years, but you know, to be considered as to have the Championship name spoken in the same vein as Wycombe Wanderers, honestly, and be honest, all fans, did you ever believe that would happen in the near future? Because it seemed a million miles away when we were scrapping away at the bottom of League Two. But we're here and we're going to take our chance, and that's what football's all about: timing, chances, opportunities, and when you take them and when you don't. And we're definitely trying to take every one we possibly can.
So fans will obviously easily well remember how well the first leg started against Fleetwood. I guess you'll just be asking for the same from the players on Thursday.
We can have a goal after a minute. That'd be very welcome. But do you know what? This fantastic side. They're a very, very good side, and we're going to have to be at our best, as we have been likely to beat them. But you know, there's no teams that we fear in this league, and that's really important to reiterate. You know, we are contenders. We are feeling like we're on a par with some of the big boys. You know, they beat Plymouth 5-0 last week. They had a man sent off Plymouth, and MK had a lot to play for, but so did Plymouth. So that was a great result from them. But I think it's a different game, a different competition, and it'll be approached differently by everyone, I'm sure.
And I know you spoke after the Burton game as well, but fantastic to have ended the season with a win and also to continue that momentum of the last 12 games.
Yeah, 12 unbeaten with, I think, 8 wins in there, which is, I think, better than last year in the Championship, which is, again, testament to the boys, how they really push on that second half of the season. We have great sports science and medical department. I keep saying this, and they get my boys in tip-top condition for me. We're a team, we're an absolute team. And it takes everyone in this team to create what we've got at the moment. A real good squad. And we've got, hoping to have a few of the injuries back as well for these playoffs. That was always the aim. Your likes of Hanlon, Lamette, we're glad we're in the playoffs because they would have been back for those, and we're in them now, boys, so take your chance.
And just finally, your message to fans ahead of these two massive games.
Get behind your boys, really get behind your boys. I say to the boys, all that hard work for 46 games, don't let that go to waste now. Don't fear anything. Just get behind and embrace every single moment of that football game, because it's going to be an absolutely sensational moment for Wycombe Wanderers. Fans in the building, League One playoffs. It's going to be a brilliant atmosphere, and I can't wait for it on Thursday. And then going to MK on Sunday. It's just what football's about, and I can't wait to embrace every single moment. And I want the fans to do exactly the same. Get behind Wycombe Wanderers and keep them going and keep them running, and every effort will be rewarded by either running, chasing, or singing and shouting. We're together in this, and can't wait to see you all down at Adams Park.
I think you make some really good points there. I think it is very, very important that we are loud and proud tomorrow. It's not going to be easy. This is not the playoffs of 2 years ago where we met Fleetwood. It's not the playoffs 7 years ago where we played Plymouth. MK Dons were very, very unlucky not to get automatic promotion. So we are going to have to be at our absolute best tomorrow and on Sunday. And as Gareth rightly says, that's absolutely everywhere. That's on the pitch, but that's also in the stands as well. And even though we're split up, let's not let that stop us, and I think that's only going to encourage us to make more noise when we're at Stadium MK on Sunday night.
I'm really interested that Nathan mentioned earlier that some players do get quite nervous during playoffs, because I guess there's a really different feel about them.
Absolutely. Everybody knows that you don't want to be that player who makes that mistake that then costs your team a place at Wembley Stadium, because that is obviously what we're talking about first of all in the semi-final, and then once obviously you get to Wembley, then you're looking at the fact that that your mistake could cost your team promotion. So you can understand why it's such a nervy time, but at the same time, it's also a time for heroes. It's also a time for people to step up, and when I'm saying those words, I can't help but thinking of one particular person who clearly is retiring at the end of the season. And again, if you were making a Hollywood film of Wycombe's season, clearly you would end it with Adebayo Akinfenwa scoring the winner at Wembley.
Oh, very nice way to end this week's show. Thank you so much. Enjoy tomorrow night.
I will indeed. Yeah, looking forward to it. I will be loud and proud. And so please, yes. So I'm not just singing on my own. Make sure you join in too.